Hi, everybody. I'm Greg Abel, and I'm here tonight to talk about my grandmother. Her name is Frida Pertman, and she was born in a tiny Polish town called Wojin on August 20th, 1917. Wojin is 100 miles away from Warsaw and close to what was then the Russian border. All my life, she's been mama to me. She's a hugger and someone who makes cookies, and you are physically incapable of leaving her apartment without her giving you a treat to take home for yourself or for the kids. But she's not just a sweet grandma. This is a person with the keen ability to negotiate and read situations. She's a voracious reader. She speaks 5 languages, and she knows how to adapt in many, many different environments because she had to. She is a quick wit. If you ask her a basic question like, "Hey, how are you feeling right now?" she might say, "Could be better, shouldn't be worse." And then when she's feeling more blunt, she'll say, "I could tell you, but you really don't want to know." When she grew up, everyone here is a product of our circumstances. Her circumstance was being born a Jew in Poland and coming of age at the start of World War II. These weren't good times for anyone. Her town was tiny, 1,000 people, a mix of non-Jews and Jews. They worked together, they lived together. They didn't intermarry, but they coexisted peacefully until the war years began. She worked as a seamstress in Warsaw during the season, and she was there when the first German bombs started falling. The city was on fire. The first German soldier who she ever saw hit her in the back with a rifle. She found some friends, and they walked those 100 miles from Warsaw back to Wojin. When she got back to her town, her father welcomed her with open arms. Her family thought maybe she had been killed in the bombs in Warsaw, but she was alive. At the same time, my grandfather, his name is Chaim Pertman, had deserted from the Polish army. He knew what was coming. He came home and found her, and they got married and they fled. He knew that he couldn't stay in Poland. So they got on a horse and buggy, her back against another's back, driving to the Russian border, paying someone to set them free. The guy against her back got shot and killed. They couldn't even scream for fear of being found out. The war years were horrible. They were separated a few times. On occasions, they worked in labor camps in the Ural Mountains. And in 1941, my grandmother was pregnant, 9 months pregnant with my Uncle Alan, her firstborn. And she had to get out of there. It was freezing, and they had no conditions to raise a child. So they left. They heard some Wojiners were in this town called Gomel. They go to Gomel, and she had heard when they get to the place where the Wojiners are, there is no room for them. So she had heard if you have a baby, they have to give you an apartment. So she literally went into the street and faked labor. A doctor at the hospital said, "Try again in 2 weeks." And then she did have that baby, and things got a little better. He got a job at a tailor shop. But he was soon after drafted into the Russian army, and they're separated again. Mama knew the leader, so they were living in, More twists and turns ensue. My Uncle Alan nearly dies of scarlet fever. The family reunited after over a year at a primitive farm in Kazakhstan where she and Alan barely survived. They found each other by writing letters to a mutual contact. They said, if we're ever separated, write to so-and-so. That person wrote back to them, and then they reunited. They found each other. My mother came along in October 1943. Finally, in 1945, the war ends. The family went back to Poland and started over, but Poland was completely different. The twins, Adam and Henry, were born in February 1953. All the Jewish families in Wojin are gone. Wojin is gone. In April 1957, the family moves to Israel. And in December 1958, they make it to the United States of America. God bless the USA. She's 41, he's 43. They have 4 kids and $140, 2 50s and 2 20s. But they work real hard, 14-hour days, 7 days a week. Life is definitely better. In 1970, he opens Pertman's Professional Tailoring on York Road in Towson. It's the proudest professional time of his life. Their greatest joy came in seeing the family grow. My grandfather died in 2004, but left behind our mama and the 4 kids, 10 grandkids, 12 great-grandkids. How did she make it? She says the will to survive is so strong. Here's a final telling note about my grandmother, Mama Frida Pertman. She flat out refuses to use a wheelchair. She won't. She's 98 and her hips and her knees and feet hurt like hell all the time. Another one of her quotes is, "Old age is for sissies." Excuse me, I said that wrong. Old age is not for sissies. But so long as it's physically possible, she stands up and she walks. So I would like to ask her to walk out now.